Hello again, this is John Wild, here to give you another look at vintage action figures. And this time, we're going to be looking at World Wrestling Federation action figures by Hasbro, Series 1 and Series 2. If you haven't yet watched my introduction video to the World Wrestling Federation action figures by Hasbro, I would encourage you to do so to get an overview of this classic toy line before viewing this video. If you have watched that video, then continue on. The Series 1 and Series 2 came out between 1990 and 1991 and included 25 figures. The core group of WWF wrestlers are represented in these waves, and many of the figures were remolded into later versions. Now, let's take a look at each of the figures individually. So this was Andre the Giant, and let's get a little closer look of him. And his action feature was he had the giant jolt, which he would hold onto his feet and he would spring forward. This is Ravishing Rick Rude. We'll take a closer look at the figure. And he had the Rude Awakening headlock for his action feature, which he'd put the other action figure's head in there. He would pull back on the arm and he would deliver a punch to the head. The next figure is Macho Man Randy Savage. We'll take a closer look at the figure. And his action feature was the elbow smash, which he would pull the arms up and it would come down with a spring action. This action figure was Akeem, and we'll take a closer look at him. And his action feature was the body slam. Hold on the feet, pull back on the head. This is the Big Boss Man. We'll get a closer look at him. And he came with an accessory, which is a nightstick, which I don't have. And his action feature was the Hard Time Slam. This guy here was the $1 Million Man, Ted Dibiase. And get a closer look at him. His tuxedo, looking very dapper. And he had the $1 Million Punch. This next guy is Jake the Snake Roberts. And he would have come with his Snake Damien, but I don't have him right now. A little articulation at the belly, just showing that off. Some of the details on the figure. And his action feature was the Python Punch. And to do this, you would get the figure like this, and you're going to hold the body and you're going to pull back on the arm and let go. The next two figures we're going to be looking at were sold as a tag team, Demolition Axe and Demolition Smash. Take a look at Axe first. And now Smash. And their gimp suits. Don't ask me. And the action feature on this figure was called the Axe Attack, which was pull back on the hands and he would spring them forward. And then Smash's thing was called the Demolition Smasher, which was a pull down on the arm and he would swing it up. There. This figure here was Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Take a look at the detail on him. And on the back of the figure, he's got this hump. And the way you would, that was his action feature called the sleeper hold. You're going to press down on the back of the figure. And you're going to move your other hand out of the way. And he's going to jump up in the air. Well, everybody should know who this guy is. This is Hulk Hogan. And he's got a painted detail on his chest. And take a look at the rest of the sculpt of the figure, because it's pretty nice. Tearing on the back. And his action feature was called the Hulkster Hug. And to accomplish this, you would pull his arms apart, put the figure in the center, and he would give him a bear hug. And this is the Ultimate Warrior, and we'll get a closer look at his face. Looking pretty fierce. He's pretty muscular, and has his tassels and details on his arm, details on the trunks, and details on the boots. Nice colors. A very muscular figure. And his action feature was called the Ultimate Slam. To accomplish this, you'd pull his arms back, and the arms would fly forward. This guy's the Honky Tonk Man, and he would have come with the guitar. I don't have the guitar, but I do have the figure. So there's a little look at the Elvis impersonator himself. Great details on these figures. This one is especially detailed with the jumpsuit and the musical notes all over it. And his action feature was called the Rattle and Roll, which again, this was accomplished by holding onto his feet, pulling the arms back, and the arms would move forward on a spring. Well, everybody should know who this guy is. This is Roddy Piper. Take a closer look at him. He's kind of got more of a friendly face. I think by this point in time in the 1990s, he'd moved on to being kind of a face wrestler, and he's got his hot rod on his chest. Detail, he's lost a couple fingers over the years, but he's still here, so we got that going for him. Good details on the kilt and on the boots. Nice sculpting on the back. Nice muscular look. And his action feature was called the Piper Punch. And to accomplish this, you would pull the arm down and let go, and you would punch up. Following up on Roddy Piper is Superfly Jimmy Snuka, of course. So take a look at him. He's got his I love you. He's got that hoo, hoo, hoo look in his eyes. That's not one hand ready to go. He's got his jungle print shorts on, his jungle print ankles, and his bare feet. Turn the figure around, and again, he's one of these figures with the hump on his back, so you know what he's going to do, so we might as well make him do it. So hold on to the feet, press onto the back of the figure, expose that narrowly looking neck, and let go. He jumps. Ho! Yep, that's him. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He would have come with a plastic 2x4. He must have left that in somebody's skull. So let's take a closer look at Mr. Duggan's face. He's got the detail on his chest and show off a little bit of hair. He's actually got belly buttons and nipples. Now you don't see that on action figures these days. Nice detail sculpt on the boots and the pads. And is kind of, you know, not necessarily muscular, but he was a husky dude, man. So, and his action attack was called the Hack Attack. It doesn't work all that great on this figure, but we'll make the attempt anyways. Pull back on him, and his arms would fling forward. So the next one is a tag team. This is the Rockers. That's Mary and Gianetti, and that is Shawn Michaels laying down. You may be asking, why is Shawn Michaels laying down? Well, he doesn't really like to stand all that well. We'll show off Mary and Gianetti first. Face sculpt and body sculpt. And movement in his arm. He's got a sash tied around his trunks and has some detail on the boots. Has some more detail on the back side of the boots, and muscular figure. Set him down and hope he stands. And this is the Shawn Michaels figure from the Rockers. He's got the band around his hand. He's got a band around his. He's got a band around his waist. Green trunks and detail on the boots. Okay, so we'll do Mary and Gianetti's action feature first. And his action feature was called the Rock Dropper. And to accomplish this, you would lift up on his arm, and his feet would raise up into his body, and then he would smash. So that's his action feature. And Shawn Michaels was, I have to put him down because this is going to make a mess. He was another one of those figures that had the hump on his back. So again, what you would do is hold on to the bottom of the figure, press down on the body, expose that really funky looking neck, and he would jump. It's a little weak jump there. I'll try that again. And that's it. These two knuckleheads are the Bushwhackers. You have Butch on this side and Luke on that side. So let's take a quick look at Butch first. Got a face only a mother would love. He's wearing a tank top. He's got some city camouflage pants on. He's got the combat boots. And then we'll take a look at Luke here. Get good sculpting on the musculature. Again, he's got the tank top very similar to his brother. And good detail. Okay, so I'll set him off to the side and we'll work it with his action feature first, which was called the Down and Out Blaster. So to accomplish this, you would lift up the arm and his foot would raise up and then it would stop. Okay, and then Luke's one was the Down Under Pounder, which is a really weird feature. Okay, so we got to do it here. That's what he did. Raise the one arm, the other arm would come up. Kind of a smash. So there they are.
I would like to thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to catch my latest uploads. And until next time, what you gonna do when the Hulkster comes down on you?
Okay, take one. And I don't know what their names are, so I better look that up.